Hello everyone, welcome back to Introduction to Programming. My name is John Duane and I'm going to go a little more deeply into the macro recorder today. I've thought about the last video that I did on this, and I think I might have left you with the impression that the macro recorder really doesn't have a whole lot of value, and nothing could be farther from the truth. So I'm going to show you an example today of sorting in Microsoft Excel and how the macro recorder can be very, very useful in creating the necessary code to do sorting. On the worksheet in front of you are 3 columns of numbers, and what I'm going to do first is sort the first column, which has the column heading of range 1, and I'm going to sort this with the macro recorder. And then let's take a look at the code that gets created after that happens. So go up to the developer ribbon. I'm going to click the record macro icon. You have the option to store the macro in a few different places. A personal macro workbook, a new workbook, or this workbook. I kind of like storing it in this workbook. That way we only have one file involved here. I'm going to go with the name macro 1. That's just fine, and we'll click OK. And now we'll just do the familiar mouse clicks for sorting. So go up to the Data tab, find Sort. I'm going to sort this thing, this column called range 1, and that looks pretty good. And there we go, from smallest to largest, and those numbers are indeed sorted. Go back to the Developer tab and stop recording. Now let's go see the code that got created from that simple little sort operation. And here it is in module 1 that was created for us. Look at all that. Those are a lot of lines of code for something that was really only 1 or 2 mouse clicks. If you look closely at what shows up on the screen here, you can see that this is fairly complex and might be very difficult to commit this to memory so that you could type it freehand. So from my viewpoint, sorting is one of the key things that I always use the macro recorder for, because it's expert at coming up with the precise code that you need. Now, just like the macro recording example that we did earlier, this one will not have the dynamic features that we like in our code, and I'll point to a couple of spots where that is the case. In the second line, you see you have to sort of read through, the code here: active workbook, worksheet, sheet 1, sort fields, add key range. Oh, look at that. So there's a range there that's fixed. So no matter what size my column of numbers is, this is the range that's going to be sorted. And then over here, the sort range is shown once again. So this is actually the range that's sorted, and this is where the key for sorting comes from. If we were to go back to the numbers on the worksheet, and let's say we were to make them out of order again. Let's put a 1 here and maybe a 3 here. And now let's go and do the macro recorder, or actually run the macro that the recorder has created. And if we do that, well, look at that. It's perfect. Exactly what I would have expected, the 1 and a 3 at the very beginning of the range. Now, if I wanted to apply that to this other range over here, it just wouldn't do it. It would Maybe I could adjust the range coordinates, but that'd be very difficult. So here's a way to make the macro created by the recorder much more dynamic. I'm going to call this a range. I'm going to give that a name, and we're going to call it range short. So that one's kind of short. And now we'll go to the code, and here, in place of those row column coordinates, I'll put range short. I think I spelled that right. Yep. And same thing over here. All right, great. So now I'll go back to over here. I'll even start my cursor in the wrong place. And let's see what that macro does for us. Let's run it. So there we go, range short. Well, it looks like it missed that first character there. Let's take a look at the name manager and find out what our coordinates are. Now, C2 to C16, and I think it is taking that first character as the as a column heading. So we don't want that. Let's make this C1. Okay, and we'll close that. So now if we highlight range short, we get the whole thing. Let's try doing that that macro again. And there we go. So that was what we were doing wrong. But the whole thing got sorted. Now let's insert some cells. Shift the cells down, and we'll put in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's see now that the column is longer. Can the macro handle that? So let's go back over and run it one more time, and look at that. Fantastic. So here's the element of dynamic property that I was looking for. Even though I expanded the column so that it's longer than it was before, the macro could still handle it. And the key thing there was the use of this range name. So before, I think it only went down to 12. Now it goes all the way down to 22. It self-adjusts. And that's a great partner for using the range name here. So this is going to sort the entire range, no matter how big it is. And by using the range name feature of Excel, we have some dynamic properties. Let's just do one more. So we'll call this range long. And go back to the code, and all we really need to do that range is just type in a new name here, range long, and that looks pretty good, except I'm going to change this one feature here. It says the order XL ascending. Let's make it descending. I think I've spelled that right. So this is another way that you can manually edit what the macro recorder has done for you. So let's get this macro going and see what happens. And lo and behold, the biggest number is at the top, the smallest number is at the bottom. The entire range was sorted in descending order just by changing the code manually. Here, this order parameter was changed to XL descending. So that's going to be it for this this video. I wanted to just spend a little more time with the macro recorder to show you how valuable it really can be when you use it for a very complicated Excel function, which may seem kind of simple with just mouse clicks, but when you actually reduce it to code, you realize how many options there are in sorting and in some of the other functions. And once you get it down just right, you can use it a million times, and it's going to be perfect. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment on the page and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.